Hello, Tony.
Hi, Ethan. Yeah, good to see you again.
Hi. So thank you for taking your time today to go on my podcast. My name is Ethan, and so today we have Tony Ling, who is the co-founder of NFTGo, which is a all-in-one NFT analytics solution slash trade aggregator platform. And a pleasure to invite Tony over to the podcast and have a quick chat on their team's recent development, as well as the recent drama that happened in the NFT marketplace scene. Everybody knew that there's this ongoing beef between Blur and OpenSea, and there's this constant back and forth, and of them trying to take over the market share. And I'm actually very glad that we actually get to record the podcast today, because just a little bit over 12 hours ago, OpenSea, they made a big announcement on Twitter, and we will dive into that later. But before we start, Tony, do you mind giving yourself a little introduction of who you are, where you come from, and what you're doing?
Pleasure. Yeah, so good to see all of you guys. And I'm Tony. Yeah, I call myself first a soccer boy, and then the blockchain analysis and criticalism. So I always write a column in the NFT and also the whole crypto area and do some lot of research. And then I came into the entrepreneur, become the co-founder of NFTGo. So I do the research since 2016 and did my first Bitcoin investments back to the March 2016 while the Bitcoin is still $400 around. And afterwards, I do a lot of token investment, or you call it ICO investment, and also NFT investment afterwards. My best and the worst portfolio is FTT, as all of you guys know how it's going now. I met SBF in 2019, and while the FTT is still $0.6, $0.4 in the private sale, and I chip in and bought a lot, but then I sold in $2. I'm happy now, but in the last 3 years, while the SPF is still really, really powerful, I always say, oh, I'm so regretful about this. Why should I sell it in $2? I should be like in $50, $60. Whatever, now I'm happy. I didn't lose all of my money. So that's the thing. And I'm happy to talk with you, Ethan. And I travel a lot across Asia and America. And now since the NFTGo co-founder, we have first the subsidiary in Singapore, and then US, and then Korea and Japan as well. So yeah, I'm happy to share my insight with all of you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I didn't know that you actually met SBF back in 2019. So did he pitch to you about FTX?
So it's a very interesting story. A lot of people are talking about how bossy he is and how bossy he is, like in 2022 or 2021. But while back to 2019, in my memory, he is kind of shy and also kind of modest. While like he cannot even bluff me when he like do this kind of fundraising. He said, "Oh, Tony, thanks for your suggestion. It's really good. We want to open up the Chinese market, and you can help me a lot. Really great." I said, "Yeah, I had indeed. I personally have a talk with him around 30 minutes." And I said, yeah, you're really ambitious. I like you. You have the white face. You have the great resources. You have similar background as I. I came to Stanford as a transfer student back to 2016 as well. And he has also some Stanford background and his girlfriend as well. So I think that time I only give his one suggestion I remember. That is, SBF, you need to have more faith in this industry. Not like he said, I'm a trader. I create the FTX platform for not only cryptocurrency, and I also can do some STO tokenized. I can even do the oil tokenization, whatever. I said, no, you should come into the Web3. Should have more Web3 sense and embrace the community. I think until he failed, he didn't listen to my suggestion.
Well, should have listened to Tony Lin. But yeah, I think the fact that he started off as a really humble and kind of shy guy at the beginning is what kind of tricked most of the investing SBF and FTX, right? And he only underwent this transition towards like a very irresponsible and a straight up fraud kind of personality along his journey building up FTX and Alameda Research, right? And then, you know, this is the thing, right? People change, and just because you met him 5 years ago that he seems like a reasonable and a reliable guy doesn't mean like 5 years later he can remain that honest nature, right? And that's why, you know, trusting people in long term is very difficult, right? So I'm working at Skyland Venture, and it is our job to, you know, invest in early startups in pre-seed, seed, and pre-series A stage, right? And so that's why I think, you know, it takes courage and a lot of skills, and, you know, sometimes you have to rely on only your experience and intuition when, you know, making big decisions, right? That's why I have a lot of respect to investor overall, especially investor in Web3, because, you know, there's like so many things going on, right? And but yeah, by the way, you said you met SBF in 2019 and then you bought your first Bitcoin in 2017. How old are you right now?
Yeah, how old am I, you think? I think, yeah, first, we are around the same age. We are young bloods. I think in this world, I think the age like doesn't mean anything. True. Like someone is 20 years old, is really mature, and it's really, I have lost so many genius around Stanford circle. I think they are more powerful than the 30, 40 years old guy, and they are really ambitious. So about my age, I'm now 25.
Yeah. So, 25. Oh wow. I'm 27, so you're 2 years younger than me, but you have so much more experience in, you know, in entrepreneurship and crypto than me. So, you know, mad respect to Tony Ling. Shout out to Tony Ling. Everybody should use NFTGo. Go buy something on there right now.
Cool. But yeah, you know, another thing in my mind is the story about SBF indicates a lot that for those young people, maybe it's a not good way to let them become a billionaire so quickly. I think maybe money people lose. And, you know, a lot of young blood, when they suddenly have so many money, they will think about something else, and like they will become a bad guy very quickly. So I think for we NFTGo and for our NFTGo team members and for all of the listeners here, maybe like you're younger than me and just hardworking, and then maybe step by step, I think like make a small step every year, and then maybe 10 years or maybe 5 years, you become a successful man. That is far better than SBF. He succeed in 2 years. That's too quick. So yeah, that's what I learned from it. So I'm happy that NFTGo didn't have such a successful area.
Yeah, I think that's the thing in Web3 startup industry, right? Because young founders, they get too rich too quickly, and they don't know what to do with it. And when they become rich, also come with fame, right? And they don't know how to handle the fame. So PR crisis is one thing, and poor treasury management is also another serious issue in the Web3 startup. Treasuries and kind of squander their future and kind of have to shut it down, the project, after a few months. And but yeah, I think be honest and be modest, and you know, keep your head down and keep building is the key solution to, you know, thrive in the industry, right? Don't get distracted by the noise in the industry, because yeah, so that's some very valuable advice from Tony. And speaking of being an entrepreneur, can you explain a little bit about NFTGo, the product that you're currently building, and what build such a product in NFT field specifically? Can you tell us a little bit of your journey along the way?
Lovely. We need to share more about my insight about the NFTGo and what am I seeing about the NFT industry at all. So I built up the NFTGo as a co-founder back to November 2020. This is my first thought about NFTGo. That time, my co-founder Luis and I, like we are in a small room and we discuss about the future of NFT. That time, I think NFT only comes from a very small circle of the crypto, we call it crypto DJ or crypto like native guys. And we think, oh yes, NFTGo, NFT, like they moves a lot, and like the volume got 10x like comparing to the September 2020 that time. So we think it can booming and booming very soon. So we should do something, right? And NFT is just a mountain. If we do something, we need to not only climb the mountain, since the mountain is really unclear. You know, there's a lot of gold on the summit, but you cannot touch it, and the road is really unclear. So the best way is you sell something to the climbers who wants to seek for the gold. So on that time, we think data is what we want to sell to the people who seek for the fortune and the gold. So that's why we call it first NFTGo, go climbing the mountain and go for the NFT. And it's for the data analytics platform. And our first coding is back to the January 2021, I think. And we literally used 7 months for building up the platform. And our official launch is August 14th, 2021. Yeah, it's only 17 months before. Yeah, but what a time. Yeah, the 16 months just passed by. And since then, we did a really good job. I think since these past 2 years, everyone in this market like know how NFT it is. And we believe in the next 4 years, I mean, 4 years as a circle of the crypto, as a Bitcoin halving.
Halving interval.
Yes, halving, definitely. So I believe in the next 4 years, it can become 100x. And the ultimate goal of NFT will be the digital commodity of metaverse. And we NFTGo can serve as a merchandise of those digital commodity. That's the thing.
Nice. Yes, I think definitely NFT has a very big potential. And I've actually heard a lot of people talking about how NFT will be the gateway, will be the catalyst for crypto's mass adoption. Because, unlike fungible tokens and, NFT is very straightforward. It's very simple and it's much more expressive, and it is more, there's more synergies between NFT and a lot of, real life use cases. And that's why people think NFT will definitely be the gateway that leads most of the, the Web2 normies into the world of Web3. And I definitely think, NFTGo, when that does happen, NFTGo will be a very important piece of data center, and it would be like a station for most people to go to whenever they need to do something NFT related.
Yeah, well, I want to add more color on that. We name our NFTGo currently as the best data analytics platform or the data aggregator in Web3 area. But we have clearly like strategy on our roadmap. If we split it into 3 stages, we are now in the early stage of the stage 2. Which is the first stage, we call ourselves the coin market cap of NFT, which is the coin market cap is really well known for the data. If you now source the data from coin market cap, everyone will think, oh, it's true. Yeah, we will use it for the crypto data. So we think NFTGo have passed the stage. Now, if you ask anyone, about the NFTGo, and his data is what people say, oh yeah, it's very legit and the data is good. We will code for that. It's the first stage. We have passed it in the last year. But the second stage you call Bloomberg of NFT, or to be more specific, Bloomberg and Robinhood of NFT. What is that? So Bloomberg is the aggregator of all the stock market and all the financial data. They not only provide the data, but also the trading portal and also the media and also community and tools. So we NFTGo wants to be the same. And we now have the trading aggregator. If you come into NFTGo, you can do the trading directly on NFTGo and have the lowest commission and lowest floor prices, if you can find it, on like among the different marketplaces, and use a one click to buy it all. Sweep the floor, make the listing, make the offer, whatever. This is one thing. And also we now have the research center. And you can see we share the annual report and we have a lot of insight. We give more indicators, metrics about how the market goes on. Thirdly, we also have the tools. If you check it out in our product list, we NFTGo not only our website, we also have Twitter extension. If you adopt it, you can see even Elon Musk, his wallet holding, how the NFT holding it is in his Twitter, like his Twitter main page directly. You can see like in the Twitter and Elon Musk, maybe he bought an NFT today, and if he sell to like whatever the Neymar, the soccer star, or whatever, you can see all of it directly in Twitter. if you download our Twitter extension. And also we have Discord bot, we have alert services around that. The thing about that, I want to keep an eye on Bored Ape or some other NFT. I really like it. And if the Bored Ape have a maybe dump in the last 5 minutes, maybe dump 5%, and then you will have a notification push on your mobile app. Oh, Bored Ape dumped. Maybe it's time to buy in low. So we provide all this capability to users, and we have the API. We all source it to the partners. So we want to become the Bloomberg of NFT. And we are on the early stage of stage 2. And as I call it stage 3, what is stage 3? We have a bigger envision. But I can't tell you guys all now.
Oh, wow. Cliffhanger. All right. I'll have to invite you for a part 2 in a few months when you do announce the phase 3.
No, probably in years.
In the years. Okay.
Well, when we hit 10 billion market cap, maybe, or when we issue the token, who knows?
Oh, wow. Hopefully that day will come soon. But yeah, just circle back to what you just said. Definitely, what I really like about NFTGo's growth strategy is that you guys are so multi-dimensional. You guys are not only just the data analytic tool, you guys are not just a trade aggregator, but at the same time, you guys are also developing APIs and other Twitter extensions, and just expanding at all front, which doesn't limit yourself to like a certain fields, right? Because if you're Blur or if you're OpenSea, then you're constantly fighting for the market share, right? And then things can get really ugly. But you guys are kind of position yourself in a special way that you guys are not direct competitor with anyone, right? You guys are kind of just doing a little bit of everything and kind of infiltrate the NFT market. And as you said, you guys are right now, I think you guys are one of the most trusted data source for NFTs. I've read a lot of reports, both in English and Chinese and sometimes Japanese. And a lot of those reports, they quote data from you guys, and there will be like a graph and say source NFTGo, right? And that's just like, so happy to see it, right? Something that I'm personally rooting for is receiving receiving attention across the industry. And which brings me to my next point. You guys are really good at global expansion. You guys are not only you guys have a big presence in both North America, China, and I also know you guys are having office based in Korea. You guys are also very placing a heavy emphasis on Korea and Japan as well. As a matter of fact, you guys are a strategic partner with Skyland Ventures. Skyland Ventures has been helping you guys, did a lot of local marketing and help you guys consolidate your local presence in Japan. Can you tell us a little more about your global expansion strategy? And why do you think it's important for Web3 projects to do so?
Sure. Yeah, I'm really proud of holding our hands together in Japan and also out of Japan. So like the globalization, the localization is always the first thing in my mind as I manage all the operation and also the business development of NFTGo. So firstly, lots of people thinking about, okay, let's come to the US, let's come to Silicon Valley and get the top level of these VCs. Definitely that's the strategy. But since several years ago, I've been observing this crypto industry, like coming from a very tiny small point to such a large group. So I think it's not only happening in US, in China, in Japan, in Korea, even in Latin America, there's people flooding in. And it also in Southeast Asia. You can see like in 2021, the GameFi that's like so popular in Southeast Asia. There is around like hundreds of millions of people coming to this area only for the GameFi. So do not only think about US, there's a lot of some places, they still have the potential, right? So for us, like we're coming from the Asia first, we're coming from the Singapore first, but we also have the US subsidiary, which is located in Los Angeles. And since I have a Stanford background, so I always come to the Silicon Valley and we have a lot of contacts there. But also we have the subsidiary in Korea, which is really unique. Since we think firstly, back to 2018 and back to 2021, every circle, the bull market, Korea has their own, this like really popular public chain. like, Terra, Luna, that is for the last circle, and the assets, the 2017. So I do think in Korea, there's a lot of potential for the people, whatever, gambling or buying the NFTs as well in the next circle. And in Japan, everyone knows that in 2022, the government supported is a really great signal for the Japanese NFT market. And I have observing also as you guys Skyland, skiing the game into this market, and so many new token funds, so many entrepreneurs, Japanese entrepreneurs coming to this area. So I'm happy to see this all. So I want to keep the flow, and that's why we are everywhere. So think about NFTGo. We have presence in all the world, and not only that, we have the local partners as you guys as the strategic partners in Japan. We also have our investor in Thailand, in Latin America, and also have investors in Europe. It can help us to broaden scope. So nowadays, I think our audience, the users landscape is around 20% America, 7 or 8% in mainland China and Hong Kong, and 5 to 7% each in Korea and Japan, and also several in Europe, and several in Brazil, Argentina, and several in Vietnam, whatever. So really decentralized, and I'm happy with that.
Definitely, yes. I think because the Web3 industry as a whole is very global, the Web3 world inherently doesn't have national borders. If you launch a project, then it automatically connects you to everybody across the world, right? And that's why it's so important to get in touch with the users in different geographies and to build a meaningful partnership across the world. And that's why, and that's how you can have actual organic growth across the world. And on that front, I think you guys are doing great, because I know a lot of projects they're trying to expand globally, but then their efforts kind of just stops at having a user interface localized in different languages and having a few Telegram communities of different languages and call it a day, right? And I don't think those are really those are low-hanging fruits, right? And they don't really add any value to the community. And only when you actually have meaningful local partners and have meaningful partnership with those partners, and can you achieve real growth, right? Because those partners can provide you local market insights and connect you with the right players or right partners. And I really, just your global expansion strategy really resonate with my personal belief of how a Web3 project should work. Yes. Yeah. So yeah. And, very, very looking forward to you guys to come visit Tokyo, and we can actually have a chat in real life. Very, very, very looking. Just for the record, me and Tony has never met in real life. Over the past year, we've only talked over Zoom and Line. And yeah, I don't know how tall you are, and and yeah.
Yeah, that's how the Web3 works. We are all digital nomad, travel a lot across the world, meet people. Even some of the colleagues in NFTGo, we have worked for the last 2 years. I haven't met them in person.
Right.
We have one guy in Mexico, right, and also one guy in Southeast Asia, and also one guy in Brazil. I haven't met them in person before, probably this year, 2023, right, but who knows? And also on top of that, I think to add more color on the globalization, I think we should have determination and resolution on this kind of the globalization issues and the business stuffs. We personally, as a co-founder of NFTGo, I'm not even learning the Korean and Spanish language. 안녕하세요, 괜찮아요, and buenos días,
right,
whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, before I joined the Skyland Venture, I worked for Dodo as their I led their Japan's market expansion, and I worked there for over a year, and I didn't meet most of my colleagues, and I actually met some of my coworkers in Singapore last year for the first time, and then it was just so different meeting them in person versus talking to them on Zoom, right? It's just completely different vibes. And yeah, I think that's what's interesting about working in Web3, right? Because such a portion of our workload was conducted online, and only very rarely that we, you know, kind of connect each other in real life over a few times over the year whenever there's events, right? And that's why I love going to Web3 conferences across the world, because I feel like that's when the magic happens, right? There's so many friends that you've been talking to on Telegram, online, on Twitter, they have never met before, and that's why you guys meet each other in real life, and then you get to, you know, stay in this very wonderful space where everybody is crypto native, and you guys kind of share this common language. Where, you know, in real life, it's more or less you're kind of like the weird guy, you know, who's really into NFT, who's into crypto, and nobody knows what you're talking about, and you know, asking you what's the real life applications of cryptos and blockchains, and you know, yeah, but it is what it is.
Yeah, right. It is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and yeah, so glad we agree on that. We're on the same page, and. Okay, Tony, I would like to move on to the next topic. I believe we have mentioned a couple of times in this conversation that you know, recently there's been a lot of drama in the NFT space, especially between, you know, marketplaces. OpenSea, Blur, X2, Y2, looks rare. They're fighting for market shares, and especially with recent Blur's airdrops, there is a lot of noise and a lot of, you know, different opinions, a lot of controversies spurred on Twitter, and especially this morning, actually just a little bit over 12 hours ago, OpenSea, they made a tweet announcing some major exchange on their platform. Let me pull the tweets out and read out the change that they're making. So they are where is it?
I bet just cut down, like they said they expect to cut down their commission and the load fee to zero, like in some like certain places. Yeah.
Yes. So the first one is they're changing they're decreasing their takers fee from 2.5% to 0% for a limited time. Yeah. And they're decreasing their creators royalty from minimum 5% to 0.5%.
Exactly.
And they're saying that they will unblock other marketplaces that utilize the same policies with their operator filter registry, right? And this appears to be a very controversial move. If you read the comments, and everybody just very mad, just saying that you know, making this decision will cause their own demise for OpenSea. Can you explain a little? Can you explain a little more on the implication of such announcement for OpenSea and why it has certain impact?
Definitely. I expect it happened for the last few months. You know, when back to 2022, everyone is asking, oh, OpenSea dominates the market and it has so many profit. What do you think of that? I say, no, it will no longer exist. Like very soon, they will cut down of this profit and policy under the pressure of the competition, especially when the NFT market and the whole crypto market come into the bear market. So I think, so firstly, think about that. You know, the crypto exchanges like Binance, like Huobi, like Coinbase, they charge only 0.25% or 0.1% of the commission fee of the crypto trading. So if you want the best volume and liquidity of your certain asset, you must cut down the commission. Or like the OpenSea, if they charge 2.5% of the commission fee and 5% of the loyalty fee, who else will trade it like frequently, right? Like if I do 3 times trading, I will lose around 20% of all of my, like, you know, like my principal, not my profit. It's my principal. It's really like, doesn't make any sense. It's absurd, right? So I really like Blur. Blur is not the first guy, you know, before that it's also XY2 and Luxury wants to challenge OpenSea, but they didn't do a perfect job. But Blur did it. If you check it out on NFTGo website, yeah, just to note that you can check all of the marketplaces, their volume and ranking on NFTGo. Search the marketplace ranking there. We found since November 2022, like Blur almost surpass the OpenSea's volume, or they are on the same level. So from that, you can see like OpenSea and probably the only dominates 1/3 of the market of the volume, and Blur another 1/3, and some all of other exchanges 1/3. So it's kind of the thing. OpenSea is really afraid of that, and especially these days when Blur 4 days ago when they do the airdrop, when they do the token launch on their product, and so many people come seeing, OpenSea didn't have the token launch, and since Blur, their token is listed on so many exchanges, and they get more and more community based on that. So these days you can see like Blur's volume even surges 2x, 3x comparing to the times before. So OpenSea is really terrified. So these things, oh no, we cannot be a monopoly player. We cannot say so many rules. So we do the unblock things. I think these, like in the trade, these are 3 different parts. The first is about the commission fee. Second is about the royalty fee. Third, which I think is the most importantly, is how to unblock the marketplaces that have 0 commission fee and something else, which means they made a wrong decision in 2022. They want to block those marketplaces, which is quite a Web2 sense, quite a Web2 strategy. Like I cut it off, I revenue goes off, and then it comes to the number 1 in this market, right? I don't think it could work in Web3, right? So it can only let you be far away from your community. Anyone wants to contribute to your product is because of you have the Web3 sense and protocol. They can get a benefit from it. It's not only like I contribute like tens of thousands of dollars for the commission fee, and then I get nothing. And then you say, okay, obviously I will get listed on the secondary market. I will get money from the VC, and I will like also contribute something to the secondary market. I mean the stock market, not for the token market, not for the Web3 world. No, definitely it's not a thing we guys want to see it from. So I don't like OpenSea, I should say. And I think in the near future, I cannot say it's got bankruptcy, right? But it will have a bigger challenge and probably failure very soon.
Yes. I mean, very obviously, right off the bat, you can tell the major differences between OpenSea and Blur is that, well, Blur, it embraces the Web3 philosophy, just being open, transparent, and, launching tokens, follows the Web3 ethos. Well, OpenSea operates more like, a Web2 company. And they're more like a Web 2.5 company because, they haven't launched a token because many people are, suspecting that they're aiming for an IPO instead of, doing a token launch. And secondly, as you mentioned, they did a lot of things that feel like what a Web 2 company would do, trying to monopolize the market, trying to, block their competitors. Their operator filter registry is really infamous for attempting to blocking Blur out of their volumes, right? And then it did work briefly, but then they realized that this is not the long-term solution, and that's why they kind of have to revert back on that decision, right? So but I feel like right now they're still have the upper hand when it comes to market share, but everybody saw the exponential growth of Blur in the past few months, and if Blur keep it up like this, we feel like definitely OpenSea's path of maintaining its dominance in NFT marketplace is going to become more and more difficult in the upcoming years, month even. So me personally, I'm not a huge NFT trader. I sometimes collect NFTs that I like. So this whole, I know. I should trade more often. Yes. So this whole optional royalty drama has started like months ago, and I didn't really catch up to it until recently. And I actually did my homework just before this podcast. So I think the reason why Blur imposes such a strong threat to OpenSea is that it has zero commission fee, and it has optional royalty option. It has optional royalty for buyer and sellers. Because I think based on my understanding, most of NFT creators' incomes are derived from royalty incomes. And however, ERC 721 token format does not allow to inherently bake the royalty feature. So the royalty feature income has to rely on marketplaces. So, for example, OpenSea, it has mandatory royalty feature. So whatever you buy and sell on OpenSea, a portion of that trade goes to the creators. However, on Blur, one of the things that well, I guess Blur didn't invented this concept, but they definitely popularized it. So is that an optional royalty feature? So buyer and seller on Blur, they can choose to not pay royalty to the creators. This is beneficial to the buyer and sellers because it gives them better price and it allows them to bid and ask more often, which in a way create a more liquid market for the NFT buyer and sellers. And at the same time, Blur, it also doesn't have any trading fees, which is really appealing for all the traders or the pro traders who kind of trade NFT on the higher frequency on the daily basis, which kind of takes away a huge chunk of volumes from OpenSea. And that's when OpenSea got worried. They were like, okay, there's this huge competitor of us, and we're going to cut them off in the old-fashioned Web 2 way by creating this operator filter registry. So whichever marketplace that does not enforce royalties will not be able to connect to our liquidities. And they did that, and it worked for a period of time, right? But then, as you can see, this morning they realized that they made a mistake and have to revert it back. And is my summary of this whole series of drama correct?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I think you like assume or expect a really good story, and or you make a good story on that. So I do think it works if you like as how the Blur they push to the public. That is the optional is commission fee. I'm sorry, not commission fee, but royalty fee to different these NFT project and different holders. So some of the NFT creators and artists they want less liquidity, but more royalty fee. Probably they say, oh yeah, I don't want my artwork and NFT like being sold like every day or like being traded every day. I just wanted like annually and getting the prices up and up. But I do assume most of the NFT artists are saying, oh, please trade it every day. I want to see a lot of volume and I want to see the liquidity. So if that, you need to cut down the royalty fee and to boosting these kind of trading frequency. So it's two different strategy, and you shouldn't limit it, and you should provide options to the community.
Yes, and I think this whole royalty feature of NFT is in a way a double-edged sword for the NFT community in the whole, right? Because the royalty income provides a new monetization method for creators. It is also seen as problematic because the royalty fees is taken earned by the creators. It doesn't go back to the market itself. So the more money comes in, and a huge chunk of the money was taken away as a royalty fee. So which means the market size is going to be continuing shrinking if new money doesn't keep pouring into the market, right? So it's kind of like harmful to the whole market in the long term, right? And so there you got to find the balance between royalty fee and free trading rights by achieving the balance. That's how you can facilitate this healthy and sustainable growth of NFT industry as a whole, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen in the future, Tony, based on the current landscape? And what is NFTGo's stance in this kind of face off between optional royalty marketplace and OpenSea?
Well, in the short term, like our programmers, I think our developer have a hard work for switching this commission, like this rate, and in our trading aggregator, and doing kind of this optimization for our trading aggregator. I think they will be very busy in the next few days. So that's the first thing. But I think in the long term, I should say, we do think it did good for industry. That's really important. And since we have the trading aggregator, and on top of that, we also outsource this capability to all of our partners, which is, we call it like B2B2C strategy. So for example, we don't want to play zero-sum game in this industry. We want to have a win-win. So for example, you are not only access to the trading aggregator in NFTGo, but you can access to any of these aggregation trading in any of our partners of the NFTGo. For example, if one wallet, crypto wallet, like I'm Token, maybe I'm Token the access to our NFTGo's API, which also have the trading aggregator, this kind of capability. And maybe I'm Token users will see a button inside in their like wallet, which is like a one-click offer or like buy as a bulk trading, right? For example, if you have the one NFT that is sent from your friend and you say, oh, how do I sell it? I don't know, like on a mobile app, it's really hard to find the best offer. And you can just click that button and then it will call our NFTGo's trading aggregator protocol like in behind, and then like you can do it like one click and sell it in some other marketplaces. So we want to provide this capacity to all of our partners, as I said, crypto wallet and some SocialFi project. And also we have the data partnership, this plan, which is quite important. We want to build up not only the data, but also the dashboard, and we call it a widget in all the NFTs collectibles, their main site or like their community like Discord or somewhere else. For example, if you are an NFT collectible owner, you create an NFT or you are an NFT artist, and you want to show, okay, today how much volume is about my project, and more deep in depth, like which blue chip holders bought my NFT. And if there is some wealth they dump today or whatever, they can show off this data in their website and in their Discord, like directly using our NFTGo's code and also the dashboard. So we want to provide this not only in NFTGo, as I said, B2B2C. First, we provide to our business partner, and then they can provide to their users. So I hope that can really increase more this presence and also the power into the Web3 world. Among that, I think it can, I'm not always talking about, okay, OpenSea now has a better volume and oh yeah, Blue coming out and like these guys. I'm caring about how to increase a bigger market. Our enemy is not you and him. It's like how to get the Web2, like 1,000x users coming to our world. That is the thing. So that's our target, and it's also what we are working for.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the true value of a Web3 protocol is that they're not competing with each other. I believe the true value of a Web3 protocol is its composability. The more that it can integrate and be integrated with other protocol, the bigger value that it can accrue. And by partnering up with all the different other protocols projects, it not only does it increase your own protocols traffic, it also kind of increase the whole ecosystem, right? And I think that's the win-win solution that every Web3 builder should aim for. By the way, do you think it's possible for a partnership between Blur and NFTGo? Because I know Blur, it's a pro trader platform, but it can definitely appreciate a very in-depth data analytic tool like NFTGo, right? That would be cool, right? Blur plus NFTGo. I would love to use that.
Who knows? What if it's unmoving?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we've been talking for quite some time today, and before we wrap it up, I want to ask you one last question regarding, this is for also relatable to all the existing and aspiring Web3 founders. So obviously, Blurred had made a splash in the scene by releasing a token, and OpenSea has taken a lot of hit by not releasing a token and secretly aiming for an IPO. So I'm just wondering, what do you think is the right path for Web3 protocol? Is it to launch a token, or is it to just keep raising rounds in equities and aiming for potential IPO in the stock market. And what is the balance here? Is there a one size fit all solution, or is it case by case scenario for different protocols?
Good question. There's tons of people asking me about the same question, especially some VC token fund guy. I should say, like in the last few months, people are freaking out, especially some traditional VCs from the FTX bankruptcy, right? So they're afraid of if token is so volatile and you don't know how the intrinsic value of it, and they say, oh no, we should be like a one step back from the token investment things. Oh, what, I don't know what the value it is. What if they down to zero? I don't think it's kind of really like wise and smart. But I have my own ideology and also my judgment about that. So first thing, I'm a columnist, and I also write off my insight and also my ideas into, you can check it out in my blog, or more easier, you can search tonyling.eth in Miro. I post everything in Miro since it's decentralized.
I'll make sure to include the link in the description later.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I hope you guys also see it and give my suggestion. Yeah, would love to chat with you guys. And my recent article is about the token investment and equity investment, the difference between that. So firstly, from an entrepreneur standpoint, I think if you want to build something like NFTGo as a product, first, you definitely should raise in equity. I should say, a lot of people are asking, yeah, Tony, when you will issue a token? When you issue a token launch? I say, no, probably NFTGo will not issue the token. But what we want to follow in the future, the past, I think the best path that we want to follow is DApp Labs. The DApp Labs, what they did is, okay, they're raising equity on top of all this infrastructure, and they also have different side projects about, which is CryptoKitty. It's really the first well-known NFT in the world, ERC-721. And secondly, Flow, the public chain, the issue of the token. Thirdly, NBA Top Shot. Even more people know about that. And it's a really money-making machine. And more. So their equity will be mapping into this side project and give the rights to their shareholders and stakeholders for all. If you want to see that, that's really clear that, okay, as an NFTGo and some other data platforms, I should say it's more like one-way interaction, which is, okay, we provided the data. We are an expert, and you see all data from us. But it's not a Web3 protocol. We have the double-way interaction. So it's not an NFTGo, but which could be in the future, the protocol that is empowered by the NFTGo and also built up from our NFTGo team. So that is the thing. Think about that. NFTFi and, who knows, like, Chainlink is really popular in DeFi and crypto area. Who knows another NFT, like Chainlink of NFT, like it will come into being. And the NFT Oracle, I think, is a really sexy narrative for to be building up. So I mean, on that, the mindset is really clear. Like first, you should build up the product and have the equity raising and to keep these fundamental things. And then after you get maybe like break even, or you get a really good power, this presence, and then you can build up more protocol upon that, and you issue token on the NFT, whatever, to make the financial things monetization. So I think from entrepreneur standpoint, that is what I think. And also from the investor standpoint, yeah, I think token is something really volatile. So I mean, people are freaking out. I think it's not the thing that one single protocol did wrong or not. DeFi, Uniswap is really good, but their prices keep decreasing since 1.5 years ago. They have really good revenue and like balance sheet, but their token price is still down wrong. But I think you should care about timing most. So I should say the whole crypto world is still in a really early stage. Like we're only a 14 years old boy, right? So these days, beta counts more than alpha. A lot of VCs, they think about this industry. They use they invest in the angle of, okay, we should find alpha. We should find the best portfolio. But when the flood comes, you see all of these protocols coming up. 5x, 10x, 15x, 50x, who knows? And while the flood's taking back, and all of these guys, 80%, 90% down, whatever. So I think the most wise way for investment is to grasp the timing. Like as you see 2021, you invest, make the profit, and you should get left. And 2022, the downside, you can avoid it.
Right.
So that's really the thing. You should keep on the long trend, but you also need to see, okay, these days we have the trend for the 4-year circle. And the smartest guy always like grasp the timing, not only for a single protocol. So from these two standpoint, I think equity, token, but definitely maybe 10 years later, this cycle will no longer exist, since maybe that time token will be more mature. I mean, token market will be more mature. And it's like equity market, like that market, it has a more stable and more these reasonable valuation. Token market will be it as well, but not today, maybe in the 10 years after. So yeah, be confident about that. That is my idea.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart strategy, right? Because despite I personally believe that the true form of a Web3 protocol should be releasing a token and be 100% decentralized, right? But then it is a really grand vision, right? It takes time and effort to actually reach that point. So this is a word that I really like. It's called progressive decentralization. You start off being somewhat centralized, and then as the time goes on, is slowly give away the ownership and the power to the community. And if you can actually follow this method, and this is a really healthy way to actually achieve the Web3 decentralized dream. And I think the problem right now is that a lot of the protocols, they release token too soon. And, and the price of the token move faster than the underlying technology. And if you are a small team of building a protocol, and then you release the token like 3 months into the building, and then you have to spend a huge chunk of your time and resources in the price management, and it just takes away, it just breaks your concentration. And then and also releasing a token attracts mercenaries and traders, and those people, they don't add any value to your projects, right? You tend to want to avoid those people for as long as possible and focus on building. And but at the end of the day, it's all about striking for the balance, as I have emphasized many times in this podcast. I think I guess the takeaway is that there's no one size fit all solution. It's more like case by case scenario. Every founders, they need to kind of weigh in their options and kind of ask themselves what they want to build, and what's the timeline that they want to achieve their goal. And then by by considering all the different factors, can they make the perfect solution for themselves, right? Whether or not they want to raise equity, whether or not they want to raise token, and when they want to raise the token, right? And because you can't just release the token and call it a day, because the tokenomics is the most important thing of a project, because the value of a Web3 protocol is measured by its community engagement, and the community engagement is highly correlated to its token utilities. If you just release a token, a governance token with no utility like Uniswap, then aside from speculations, there's not much use of it. And I myself is not an entrepreneur. I'm more of like a researcher. I look into different projects, and I read different blog posts on Twitter, listen to what influencers says, and so yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. None of this is financial advice. Do your own research, and I don't know what I'm saying.
No, it's more being appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you for coming out to my podcast today, Tony. It was a pleasure to have you be here. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I learned a lot from this discussion, and hopefully we can do this more often. Do you have any final words that you want to say to the audience?
Well, yeah, my pleasure as well. And last but not least, please support NFTGo. And if you want to check off the NFT data and also insight and also research, come to our website. We have our annual report, and always have our articles being released and some data scrap, like time by time, and you will see it everywhere. Just come into our community, chat with us, and just a try. If you didn't have an NFT yet, you should. Yes. And maybe you will see how charming it is.
It
That's
is.
my
It
advice.
is. It is a very
And-
magical experience. Once you've done it once, you just can no longer stop.
Right.
Very
sure.
addicting. Very addicting.
Very addicting. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Hope to see you.
Yeah. Hope to
in
see you again,
person.
Tony. Hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for coming today, Tony. And have a
Thank
good day,
you,
sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Have
Bye.
a good day.